Okay, so for part 2 of writing systems of equations, we have already gone through and identified the the system. We have written the system, and so now we're going to talk about solving. Okay? So the question says, how many tickets does each have to buy for the cost to be the same? So notice this is only asking for our x value. Okay, we have our system. Let's think about this. What method would we want to use? Some of you might say substitution. Some of you might say elimination. Actually, either one would work. I do want to show you solving this using the substitution method, just because sometimes equations like this confuse us. Okay, so if you'll notice, both equations have y by itself. They're already solved for. Okay, so let's say that I take this and I want to plug it over here for y. So the reason why this makes us a little uncomfortable is because most of the time we don't end up with variables on both sides when we're doing systems like this. But it's totally okay if we do. I'm going to move my 65x over to get 4x. I'm going to move my 6 over to get 8. And we get x equals 2. And notice that's it. We're done. We don't have to do anything else there. We've already answered our question. They have to buy 2 tickets for the cost to be the same. Okay, let's look at number 2. Again, it's your choice and what method you want to use. We've got some decimals, which makes it maybe not so much fun. Okay, we have an equation that has coefficients, variables with coefficients of 1. So the substitution method would be a fine choice. I know me personally, I prefer to use the elimination method if I can. So I want to show you that I would probably choose to take this bottom equation and multiply it. And I'm going to multiply it by negative 0.06. Okay? Fine if you want to do the elimination method. The result should be the same. So I'm going to go over here and try to squeeze it in on my paper. So this is going to be negative 0.06x minus 0.06y equals negative 600. So the good thing is we've got a calculator. Decimals should not scare us. Okay, so when I add this together, I get 0.03y equals 84. And when I divide by 0.03, I get y equals 2,800. So let's look at what we have here. So y represented Fund 2. So Fund 2 has $2,800. And then now remember we need to plug that back in. 2,800, we've got x plus 2,800 equals 10,000. And if I do 10,000 minus 2,800, I get that Fund 1 has 7,200. Okay? Okay, number 3. Number 3, we have one equation in standard form, one equation in more or less slope-intercept form, even though it doesn't have x and y. That would be slope-intercept form. We have a variable solved for, so I know that I would immediately go ahead and use substitution. Now, if you wanted to use elimination, totally fine. But remember, you've got to rearrange those equations into the same form if you are going to use elimination. Okay, so I'm just coming over here, plugging in my numbers. You probably can take a minute, solve it for yourself. See if you can get the same thing that I do. I'm going to skip a few steps, but we should get W equals 10. So we know our width is going to be 10 inches. And then to get our length, I'm going to do 6 plus 2 times 10, which is 26. And so our length is 26 inches. Okay. Okay, the last one. What method should we use? Notice we don't have any coefficients of 1, and we already have some coefficients that are the same. So I definitely think the elimination method is going to be the best choice. So we have to subtract to cancel out those g's. That gives me 2h equals 13. Oh, look how easy this is. Divide by 2, h equals 6.5. And since we're talking about money, we know that the hats cost $6.50. And then remember, we're going to have to take this and plug it back in. So I'm just going to pick this second equation. It's a little bit smaller numbers. Okay, and subtract 13. That gives me 17. Divide by 2, and I get 8.5 or $8.50. So the gloves cost $8.50.